All right. What's up? We're back with a new episode. This time we're spotlighting the career of Zendaya in anticipation of Malcolm and Marie, which drops Friday, which we're pretty excited for. We have a special guest, Ajahn, here. He's a big fan of Zendaya's work too. We're both big Euphoria fans and hyped for Malcolm and Marie. So let's jump right into it. We're going to start off with Spider-Man, Homecoming, and Far From Home, which she has a bigger role, I'd say, in Far From Home. But Nick, we'll start off with you. What are your thoughts on her performance in Far From Home?
Um, I'm gonna jump to like Homecoming for a second because it was like her role in that one is such a weird like supporting character role because she's just there to like she's just randomly there, but it's like she gives it so much like like the role of what they call her like Michelle in Homecoming, like they give her like she gives it so much like personality and like weird like energy that you can't help but like be engaged with her. And then in Far From Home they like just develop that further. I love she and Tom Holland have a great back and forth. They're so like charming and like cute and awkward with each other. And I don't know, she has her own like attitude about her that I love, like I love watching. She has like she's in this sort of how best to say, just like she's like in her own world and she's just vibing. She rolls with like all the crazy stuff that's happening. I don't know, I love how like Far From Home like just able to give her like a bigger more stuff to do, just a bigger role.
Yeah, Ajahn, what are your thoughts on her?
I mean, both the Spider-Man movies, obviously, I gravitate towards her like comedic character, but she's not trying to be funny, and it's weird because she has so much personality, but her character is like this introverted, not trying to have a person. It's like this weird sort of thing to grapple with. But yeah, I mean, I love the way she played it. What
Yeah,
about you?
I feel I like it's a completely different take on the character because I think the other iterations she's kind of been like this cooler,
Mm,
knows exactly who she is.
dating the jock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And this one it feels more like an actual teen, and you know what I mean? Like Tom Holland feels like a teenager. She feels like a teenager still trying to figure everything out, and she navigates that really well.
yeah,
I think they do a great job setting her up with just like the little one-liners and the little jokes that she says in the first movie in Homecoming. And then in Far From Home, they really do a great job building on that. The awkwardness, the back and forth, the not knowing like what to do, who makes a move, and kind of the uncomfortableness of trying to get into your first relationship and being an awkward teenager. I think she really does a good job, and I think her chemistry with Tom Holland like is really really good. You can see it in interviews, and it's infectious. It helps really push the story forward, and I like this awkward, different kind of outsider perspective that both Tom Holland as Spider-Man and Zendaya as Michelle have.
I just wanted to say too, like on paper, especially in Homecoming, you could cut the character out and the movie would have just like it would have had no impact. And like even on paper, like there's like barely anything to care, but she made it so but they made it so memorable because of her. Like the little like there was that scene at Washington D.C. where the teacher was like, "You're gonna go up the Washington Monument," and she gives like a whole like spiel about like she's like, "Nah, it's like a symbol to slavery, so I'd rather not." And it's just like a lot of like there's like blood like sarcasm and like there's again I think I should say like just a lot of personality that she was able to work and like make such like this one note character like so memorable.
yeah, and I think both movies in general do a good job of making it more relatable, especially to their demographic today, like our generation. And obviously Zendaya fits that with her character, especially when she talks about, I think it's in Homecoming, where she's like, I don't usually have friends, but this is cool having like that. This is very relatable. So I think the script writing played with her acting really well.
Yeah, and I think it fits into the idea of like you think about who's watching this movie. It's like it's us, it's nerds, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
geeks, it's people who love that sort of like the Marvel movies and comics and that sort of
Right.
stuff. And she really fits that kind of persona. So
Yeah.
I think that also helps us gravitate towards her character.
Yeah. 100%.
Now let's move on to The Greatest Showman. This came out in, off the top of my head, I think 2017, and I didn't see it actually until this year. Um, Nick, what were your thoughts on her performance in that movie?
Again, like chasing the same like points that we just talked about with Spider-Man. She's in a supporting role, but she's in like I think she's like in a very good like supporting role. Like she plays off of Zac Efron, mainly Zac Efron, but also like Hugh Jackman and like the rest of the like other cast. I think really well. I think again, she just brings a lot of like humanity and like attitude to this character. Her character is like I feel like quieter than the MJ character in Spider-Man, but like you still see like there's a lot like going on with her. There's a lot going on inside, and a lot of that's just her like through just facial expressions, like showing off that like that emotional storm. um, there's the one scene where like she and Zac Efron are going to like the theater or something, and they're like stopped by Efron's parents who are like say like very like subtle racist dig at her, and she she doesn't like lash out, but like you see her like just like taking it and like processing, and she like runs off. Like I think again, she just does so well in like giving a character, no matter like how much like the writing's there for, like giving it a lot of like personality and like humanity and presence to them. That's why like I remembered her like so much, like, just standing out amidst the rest of the cast.
Yeah, Ajay, what did you think?
Yeah, like Nick said, I think emotionally this was her best performance outside of Euphoria. But obviously, there's so many facets to being an actor, and something she hadn't played with until this role was the physicality of being an actor. So she had to learn a whole bunch of them. She had to work out a lot. She had to learn how to
Do wires?
be an acrobat. So I think she did that really well. Obviously, in the movies, it's really impressive everything she did with her and Zach. Um, but yeah, I think this was her most like immersive role in film. Um, and she executed perfectly, I think.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because I know she had a hard time breaking into the industry after being on the Disney Channel because she was viewed as the Disney kid. And in
Right.
Disney TV shows, you're told to overact, right? So that younger kids can easily understand like the emotions you're trying to portray. And so I found it really interesting that she's given these side characters, but she really kills it.
Yeah.
Like she really brings another layer to them that otherwise a character could be kind of bland or just, you would kind of forget about the character, but she makes them really memorable in this film especially. There's the scene, it's her and Zac Efron, it's just the two of them, where Zac Efron's basically saying, I love you, and then Zendaya is saying, like, I do too, but I can't be with you.
Mhm.
And they're doing it while on wires and they're going back and forth. And I really think her performance is really amazing there. And I think it really was kind of like an early hint at the talent that was to come.
Yeah. And then there's the scene at towards the end of the movie where Zach had run into the fire because he thought that Zendaya was in the fire and they're lying in the hospital bed. That scene is one of the more emotional scenes in the movie, and she plays perfectly. She's got the watery eyes. She's got all of it. So yeah, impressive.
Does anyone know if she actually did the wire work? That like I feel like she like I don't know. I'm like just again more kudos to her because there was some insane like trapeze stuff going on in that scene.
Yeah, she did. She talks about it in an interview with Jimmy Fallon, I think. That some of the scenes that she was doing was with no net at the bottom,
Yeah,
and yeah, so she had to train for I don't know how many months, but it was a while
Mhm.
that she had to train for that.
that's insane. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's nuts. And like to have that much dedication to have a small, like a 10-15 minute role in the
yeah,
film, um, is really impressive. And I think it pays off because, right, we get the next thing on our list, which is Euphoria. Now, this show dropped in what, 2018, 19?
Euphoria. Yeah, I think 2018.
Yeah, it feels like so long because they had to stop production on season two their first day because of COVID. Um, but this was her breakout role in a way, which is weird because she was really good in Far From Home and Greatest Showman. but it was this role in Euphoria that she really just brought it to a whole new level. She won an Emmy for it deservingly, and I was so captivated by her in the series. I think just from the pilot, the way they set it up, I mean, the intrigue from week to week that built from her character, and you really invested in her struggle. And I think in the hands of a lesser actress, you would either feel frustrated or just kind of be like, okay, what's next? But I think she really does a good job of portraying the whole emotional spectrum in this. But Arjun, what are your thoughts?
I mean, there's a reason she won an Emmy for it.
Right.
I mean, she played it perfectly. You automatically empathize with the character, but at the same time, it's like you can see a little bit of yourself in her. And you don't have to be a drug addict to feel the pain that she's feeling. And I think like her home life, the way she portrays like the responsibility of being a role model to her sister while at the same time facing this huge problem and burden on her shoulders of addiction, she plays that conflict really well. And I just enjoy watching her. I enjoy seeing what she brings to the table.
Yeah.
I didn't see Euphoria yet. Sorry guys, but I just want to say like I remember when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, Zendaya is like in a coming of age high school star. I was like, okay, that seems, I mean, somewhat like what she's done before. But then I remember seeing that first poster, or I don't know if it's the first poster, but like the one where it's like her face and there's like a tear coming down. Do you guys-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I saw that and I was like, okay, so this is not what I thought of at first. And I did watch the first trailer and she really threw herself like in there. It was so like even like just from the trailer, I was like, she really went for it. Like I think Henry, you said like on her like the dedication in Showman, like I even that I saw like she really like kind of like just disappeared into Rue, right? That's her name.
Yeah. Yeah.
She disappeared into Rue. And yeah, like from what like I've heard of like the other like of her like Emmy competitors, I was like, no, she earned that. I'm really glad she got that because I know that she went all out for it.
Yeah. It's really deserving. I think it's really sophisticated themes in the show that you have to pull off. I think the writing's amazing, but it's very complicated emotionally.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah, and that's what makes it like a really heavy burden on an actor. One to have to carry that every day because like when you're an actor, you have to inhibit the character.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what it's like trying to be rude on a daily basis like that.
Just like emotionally takes a toll on you.
Yeah, I mean the one scene that I feel like kind of wanted the Emmy is the one where she's trying to get drugs from Fesco and Fesco won't open the door, and it's just the shot just holds, and it's just her slamming the door, breaking down, and it's one of the things I always point to in the hands of a lesser actor. The scene wouldn't have felt the same.
Yeah, as authentic.
Yeah, it could have felt like, oh, okay, it's just like a insert crying scene.
Yeah.
Or like, okay, that person's not really like emotionally low of a place. But like just that one scene, the way she breaks down, the time that they spend just sitting on her slowly, like going crazier because she can't get the drugs that she's addicted to. In the mix of that combined with her love story with Jules,
Yeah.
and how they kind of parallel her addiction to one thing with her addiction to another, like how that love is addicting and maybe it's not the best thing for her. And she's trying to come to terms with that, but she can't.
Yeah.
It's like her struggle with drugs, her problem is the show's about her struggle to overcome addiction. And I don't think it's addiction of one thing necessarily. Right. And that's further explored in the special episode that dropped.
Yeah.
I think that really does a great job of further exploring. And that's one of the things where there's two people, one setting, they're in a restaurant or in like a diner. It's her and Coleman Domingo acting across from each other, and it's just an hour, just reverse shot. And it's heartbreaking hearing her whole life story and like how she came to be who she is. And you get this whole perspective that builds on the character so well that I mean, it's just amazing.
In terms of like a TV show, I don't think people realize what a fine line there is between good acting and like entertainment versus like cheesy and cliche. Like you can easily be both. And I think when you take a risk like putting on an episode where it's just two characters talking, there's like nothing else happening for an hour. You need to have some solid people in those seats. And Zendaya does such a good job of keeping us like almost at the edge of our seats the whole time, just trying to figure out what she's thinking, what's going on in her head. Um, it's crazy, and I mean, you can see it with the other episode of Euphoria that dropped with Jules. Like it was a good episode, but it wasn't as engaging, and I think that has to do with maybe who was in those chairs. I think Zendaya did a really good job of just keeping us hooked.
100%.
Yeah.
And we're going to move on. We're going to do a quick little preview of the next two things that are coming out, because I know we see Malcolm and Marie on Friday. And then we'll also be getting Dune hopefully sometime this year. So it looks like people are starting to finally realize that she is a star.
The greatness of
Yeah,
Zendaya.
the greatness is in. I mean, how excited are you guys, real quick, for Malcolm and Marie?
I think. Oh, sorry. For me, I think, like, I remember we covered it in a previous episode, but like, it caused there was a huge bidding war for it. One, and then there was then it started. People were like, she could like reasonably get like nominated like for an Oscar. I'm like, can you imagine that? Like the Emmys were what, September? That was only like 4 months ago, like something. Like that. I'm like, can you imagine that? Like that, and then only 4 months later, she's gonna be in Dune as well. It's like one of the biggest films like in the past few years. Like that's an insane like streak of like months just for like any performer. I'm excited to. I'm excited. My excitement for the movie keeps growing just based on like the reaction to the actors, and like her and John David Washington apparently do amazing. So um, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what happens. She seems to be in again some sort of different type of role than usual. Like so I'm excited for sure. She's like the main driving point for me at this point for that movie.
Yeah. How are you, Arjun?
Yeah, obviously both movies, same as Nick. I'm very excited to see her in both. But obviously I'm more excited to see her in a lead role again. Um yeah, she's gonna kill it. I've watched the trailer like 8 times, I think, for Malcolm and Marie. And I'm not as big on the romance genre in general, but it's Zendaya, so like I'm excited regardless. And I think that the whole story of how it was made, like during COVID, like at the peak of COVID, well, it's been peaking,
Yeah.
but when it first started, like they got into production, they flushed it all out, and yeah, I'm just excited to see what they came up with.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the whole premise of the story is not like they use is it's not a film about falling in love. It's a film about love.
Right.
I thought the way they played that out through the trailer, and about like the trials and tribulations of being in love with someone,
Yeah.
and even just like the little glimpses of a performance you get from her and John David there, I was super excited.
Yeah.
And then going into Dune, I recently read the book in preparation for when the movie was going to come out in December, and then COVID threw a wrench in that. But I think she'll be really great. I think it's probably not as much. She said it's not as much in the first film, but if they get to make a second film, which I really hope they do, because the story, I really think this could be the next Lord of the Rings. It would really be next level. I think her performance in another film.
I'm just excited to see like Zendaya playing against John David Washington is one thing, but then Zendaya playing against Timothy Chalamet, Dave Bautista. I'm not sure how her character intersects with Javier Bardem, Jason Momoa. Like I think it's gonna be so much fun just to see all her playing off of like other very like dynamic personalities. So, and then Spider-Man 3 is coming out this year too. Like this is shaping up to be your biggest year yet.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so crazy. I mean, And who knows, we may get next week, we may get it announced that she's in another role. I really
Yeah.
think this is just the start of a great career.
Yeah.
But with that, I think that wraps up the episode of talking about Zendaya and the Spotlight. I can't wait till Malcolm and Marie comes out this Friday. We'll check it, come back to the channel on Friday. We'll have a review either on Friday or Saturday, depending on our schedules. But thank you for guys for watching. Let us know what your favorite performance of Zendaya's was in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
So.